chance of a lifetime, maybe the only chance, to compete for their country on their home ice. The 2002 Winter Olympics are just a month away, and America's best male skaters are looking to secure their spot in Salt Lake City. For Timothy Gable, a year has passed since he claimed gold at Nationals. He won Skate America in October and medaled at the Grand Prix final. Now, he's looking to repeat last year's championship performance and head to the Olympics. For Todd Eldridge, seemingly ancient next to his current rivals at the age of 30, he hopes to return to the Olympics for a third time. Along with his experience come great spins and great presentation. But will he need to land a quadruple jump to boost his Olympic prospects? And for Michael Weiss, 2 consecutive U.S. championships would seem to be a good omen. But he finished off the podium last year, and this year has been nothing but disaster. With his confidence at an all-time low, he needs to pick himself up and deliver a reputation-saving performance, or he'll be just another Olympic spectator. And for Matt Seavoy, a top 3 finish would show a return to form he hasn't had since last summer's injury. The college student from Peoria, Illinois may have an understated manner, but he knows an understated performance won't get him a spot on the podium. They've all come to Los Angeles to compete at the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. It's their chance. It's their time. The men's short programs are next. First time since 1954, the national championships have come to the city of Los Angeles. The sun has already set here on the West Coast, but the work is just beginning for the best skaters in America. As we welcome you inside Staples Center here in downtown LA, the Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings, they're all on the road this week. The focus squarely on the 2002 State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Hi, everybody. I'm Terry Gannon. Every year, the best skaters in the U.S. come to this event with medals at stake, also spots on the U.S. World Championship team. This year, there's even more at stake. This is where the U.S. Olympic teams will be selected. And here's how that process works. The U.S. champion in each discipline automatically goes to Salt Lake City. Then it's determined by order of finish. There are 3 spots available for the ladies and the men, 2 spots available for the pairs and the ice dancers. We'll be with you every step of the way this week here at Staples Center in LA. 16 hours of coverage in all. Tomorrow night, we're over on ABC Sports, including live coverage of the men's free skate. Then Friday night back on ESPN2 and on ESPN. Saturday night in prime time, we're over on ABC Family Channel with live coverage of the ladies free skate. Michelle Quan going for another U.S. title. Then the rebroadcast of that Sunday afternoon on ABC Sports. A lot of skating this week, all of it extremely important. And we turn right now to the 7-time U.S. national champion. Those to go along with his 2 Olympic gold medals, Mr. Dick Button. Great to have you back here, by the way.
Thank you, Terry. Nice to be here.
What about the men? The short program on tap tonight. Only 3 spots available for the Olympics.
Well, you know, in this championship, I mean, it's particularly intriguing for 2 reasons. Number one, there are 3 U.S. champions here. 1, Timothy Gable is hoping to defend his title. And 2, Todd Eldridge and Michael Weiss are each hoping to regain their titles. Now, that puts pressure on it. But since there will be only 3 spots open for the Olympic Games, there will be great pressure for the other skaters like Matt Seavoy and Johnny Weir. So it's do or die time right now. Sink or swim. And remember one other thing. This championship, which is usually referred to simply as the Nationals, is the toughest of all to win. Why? Well, I'm not really sure why, but all I know is it always was for me, and I was in 7 of them. It's probably because it's hard to skate in front of your friends and be judged by your countrymen, harder than when you go to a world or an Olympic competition and are judged by strangers. It's a lot more important for this championship, too, to win it, because if you don't have the support and placement of your own country, the rest of the world's judges are going to view your quest with a somewhat jaundiced eye. So it's pressure time, my friends, and the moment the knife starts turning in the stomach, may the best man win.
7 out of 7 for you, right? Not a bad percentage at the senior national championships. Men's short program on tap. As always, there are 8 required elements in the short program. The quad is always very important, although it's not mandatory to try the quad here.
Just try not doing it and see how far you get.
for Derek Delmore.
2 minutes and 40 seconds. They're on the edge the entire way. This short program worth 1/3 of the overall score. And we get underway here in L.A. with Derek Delmore, the 23-year-old from Fort Washington, Maryland. The 98 World Junior Champion, Dick. Last year he placed 10th at the Senior National Championships.
And one of the few skaters to have completed a full college education while he was competing. Now remember what we've been talking about, the quad jump, not mandatory, but extremely important. This is his attempt right here. A combination quad salchow double toe. Now there'll be a deduction for that because he kind of stepped out of it. He didn't complete the landing with a pure edge. But nevertheless, he did a pretty good job on it. He got all the revolutions there.
You mentioned his college education. He went to Stanford and graduated in Palo Alto with a double major in communications and psychology.
Triple axel.
We've seen Derek Delmore on the scene for a number of years. Really interesting athlete and guy off of the ice as well. Not only an excellent skater, but he's an award-winning pianist. His father, John, is a retired Air Force colonel who met his mother, Yvonne, when they were both working at the Pentagon.
You know, that was a nice overall program, a really sort of interesting one. He had a very good attempt at a quad salchow, and some of the other moves were really first rate. Remember, he's the first of many skaters here, and therefore the judges have to be very careful about how they place him to give room to those yet to come. Now on this quadruple salchow, look, here's the back inside edge on the left foot. Now watch him up into the air, and 1, 2, 3, 4 turns. He lands, but the edge is not clean coming out. He twists and turns on it, and before he goes up into the next double toe, and that'll cause 1/10 of a point deduction. Here it is again. Now watch from this back inside edge on the left foot, the full 4 revolutions. He lands right there, but he can't hold that as an edge. Twists around it, almost tap dances around it, and that causes the problem.
And there's a look at the panel of judges working this men's short program. It's a panel of 9, and they are all volunteers from around the United States. Of course, this is the portion of the competition they say you can't win the overall event here. You can certainly lose it, because every mistake, for everyone, there is a deduction here.
5.2.
And now in the kiss and cry area alongside his coach, Shirley Hughes, his first and only coach, by the way. Back in '88, they got together.
5.2.
There'll be 2 sets of marks now. The first for required elements, 4.7 up to 5.2, the range there.
And his marks for presentation.
And those are low marks, but remember, they've got to keep them down low because they've got almost 14 or 15 more skaters yet to come, and they have to give them room and balance for the ones that are particularly good.
Second set for presentation, low 5s, 5.2s and 5.3s for Derek Delmore. When we come back, a young man who we watched skate on the international scene is the 17-year-old from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Let's welcome now
Joeigh Weir, the 2001 junior world champion. Last year at the national championships, he finished just out of the top 5, a 6th place finish for Joeigh Weir, but got some great international experience this season.
First requirement, circular footwork. You notice all of this footwork creates a huge circle around the center of the rink. He does not do a quadruple, instead a triple Lutz, triple toe, 2 triple jump combination. There's the first landing and second one. That was very good.
Had a number of challenges since that World Junior Championship in 2001, most of them coming in the form of injuries. He broke his wrist when he crashed into the boards, missed 6 weeks at that point of training.
Clean landing. Combination spin. Sit, change, sit. Now remember this triple flip, there must be footwork going into it. Here it is, movements, not stopping to create a pretentious ending, beginning. Combination first, running 3s into a combination spin, camel into a sit spin, back sit spin, cannonball position, dropped hands, stretch catch foot. Really a very neat all-around performance with a good completion of all the requirements. And I think the fact that each of those requirements was done cleanly and well will give him a very good standing on these marks.
Got a great future, but pretty good right now as well. Only 17 years of age. Joeigh Weir.
Now this combination right there, triple Lutz. Beautiful revolution in the air. Nice clean edge stepping right up into the triple toe loop coming out of it. That was first rate. One of the requirements is that they must do complicated footwork, or at least not stand in a straight edge, as we've frequently seen in the past, going into a triple jump. And he did that very nicely here, going into that triple flip jump. Good, clean, outflowing edge.
For required elements.
So we'll see what the judges thought now. The first set of marks for required elements in the mid-5 range.
Well, I think those are pretty special. And, you know, that whole business about the entrance into the flip is really one of the very nitpicky kind of points to be made. And I don't even know whether it meant anything to the judges or not.
And as you look at these marks, Dick, for required elements, now presentation 5.4 to 5.6. He's very early in this men's short program, and they do leave room. So those are impressive.
Look at how clear and clean they are right across the gift. That's nice judging when you get everybody in the same category in what they're judging him.
Up next, one of the favorites, the 5-time national champion, Todd Eldridge, who's trying to make his 3rd trip. 17 trips to the national championships, 12 of them on the senior level. The man has been here before. He knows what it takes. Todd Eldridge trying to win for the 6th time at this event.
Now, before you get into this, just remember, this is where the quadruple jump will count. He will not be able to medal at the Olympics without it. Early in the program, his attempt here, if he puts it in. If he has it planned, it'll be here, a quadruple toe, triple toe. No, triple. Double axel, triple axel. Now that means he cannot do a triple axel here. Double axel. Remember, you get marked down if you repeat a move. And he changed that program from what he told us earlier. But look at the quality of this back spin right here. Look at how closely centered it is on the ice. Now again, we watch the footwork that he goes here, right, going into this triple jump. Continued flow, slight variation, and not a very good triple Lutz that came out of it. That just wasn't good quality. It's less a matter of a deduction than it is a matter of a lower mark.
Is he the best in the world at this, though, Dick?
In the current world today, he is just, look at how tight the little turns are, the circle that he's in. That's just centered right in one spot, like you expect to see a top on a table when you're spinning it. Straight line footwork. Getting much more theatrical, much more effect out of this. Now a huge serpentine footwork. You notice the curve going one way and now going the other. Where he's really without peer in the world of skating today is his spinning ability. Look at how the centering is staying in one spot. Camel spin down to a cross foot, to a sit spin, to a cannonball position, and now a back scratch with the hands over the head. I gotta tell you, that's the cat's pajamas right there.
In order to win an Olympic medal, you got to go to the Olympic Games. That's what he's trying to do here. And he knows how tenuous those top positions are. I mean, you've got to finish basically for the men in the top 3 to make it to the Olympics. And there are at least 4 men, if not more, who have legitimate chances to make it there. That's a big hurdle he just got over.
But that's also the reason he did not do or try a quadruple jump, although he had expressed the fact early that he would. Now, look at this footwork right here into this triple Lutz. He sort of breaks a little break there, right there, but not enough to cause a deduction. But on this, the Lutz, look in the air. Now watch the landing. Way over, way over. He just doesn't have a good solid landing. He almost touches down. And if he did touch down, that would be 1/10 of a point off. But in this final combination spin, it just sings. Look at this. The speed, the centering of it, the control he has, the cannonball position, and this part, the back scratch spin with the hands over the head, which is one of the best in the business today.
And here are the judges' marks for Todd Eldridge for required elements.
Well, Todd, of course, lives just outside of Detroit, but he spent some time. He and Richard Callahan, they were training out here on the West Coast in San Diego for some time. First set of marks now, 5.4 up to 5.7.
And you know, there's a greater variation there than there was with Johnny Weir, which I think is quite an interesting thing. That means there's a divergence of opinion on the part of the judges.
Oh, look at these, though.
Well, those are you know, classic, and that's of course exactly what's going to pull him up ahead of John Weir at this time.
And it did. Currently in first place, Todd Eldridge. When we come back at Staples Center in L.A., the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships continue. Right now, let's join Peter Carruthers.
Okay, Todd, the short program's behind you now, but no quad. Why?
You know, I just felt like I wanted to go out and do a good, consistent, you know, clean short program today and keep myself in contention for Thursday.
What are you going to do in the free program? Are you going to put the quad in?
Yeah, you know, it was fine today, and it's been okay in practices. So, you know, I think there's a little less pressure for it in the long program. There's no deduction for it if you miss it. So we'll go for it.
Only the Olympic gear.
Yeah.
Okay, back up to Terry Gannon.
Let's welcome now Ryan Bradley.
Meanwhile, the action continues here in the men's short program. Terry Gannon alongside Dick Button as Ryan Bradley steps out onto the ice. 18 years of age, from St. Joseph, Missouri. The '99 U.S. Junior Champion.
Now we'll see no quadruple out of him, but we will see a triple axel right here. Now watch the landing. Wow. Sorry I had to say that.
You had to point that out, didn't you?
Well, you know, he has been cross-footing and double-footing the landing, and that's what I was thinking he might do here. I didn't realize he'd be so far off on the entrance, so far out of line.
He's had an injury. Ryan Bradley actually skates some pairs, too, in the novice division. And at the Midwestern sectionals, he had a fall during a lift, and it forced him to withdraw from the men's competition there, and he was actually given a bye, and that's how he got here to the national championships.
Triple Lutz, triple toe loop combination, very stilted, very unflowing, and that'll certainly cause some kind of minor deduction. This camel change, camel, count the number of revolutions. Each foot has to have a minimum of 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, almost. I guess you'd have to give him credit for that.
Close enough.
Circular footwork. This was a lot of forward steps and not very much footwork. Now this footwork into a triple flip. Here, see these moves as he goes into this and steps into the triple flip. The reason for that footwork going into those jumps is to prevent the long stationary pauses that skaters were taking from one end of the rink to the other to get into that jump.
Does it make it a lot more difficult?
Not necessarily. More interesting.
Yeah.
Running stars, Arabian back camel. Well, it was a nice performance all the way around, a good performance, but there were just not enough singing moves, not enough things that were perfect, and there'll be a 4/10 deduction for the fall on the triple axel.
By the way, the marks for Ryan Bradley range from 3.8 all the way up to 5.4, about as wide a range as you're going to see, and he is currently in 5th place.
Here is Michael Weiss.
It may be a catch-22 for Michael Weiss. He certainly wants to remember '99 and 2000 when he won his 2 U.S. gold medals, but he'd like to forget much of what's happened the past year and a half or so. Last year, it was because of injury. That's why he struggled. This year, he just hasn't skated that well. But here he is, 15 pounds lighter, entering this U.S. championship.
Now his plan is to do a quadruple toe, triple toe combination. And if it's going to be, it'll be right here. And it wasn't.
He was able to land the quad at the sectionals competition. He hasn't been able to land it very often, but just the fact that he had to go to sectionals to qualify here is a shock.
One thing about that attempt at a quad was that it was not a disastrous fall. It was one of those quick down, up and out moves, which will be less difficult for the judges to But he can't do this kind of thing if he's going to make it. I mean, that was a triple axel, and he should have had that one under his belt.
This crowd now trying to get him back on his feet. And remember his last trip to nationals, he had the lead after the short program before he just fell apart in the free skate and came in fourth.
Sit spin, good speed, good centering. Well, just not his best performance, you know. Really a sad mistake on those two moves. The first one, the quadruple toe, and then on the triple axel.
Twice the world bronze medalist, but trying to find that form still here at the national championships. Michael Weiss.
Now, on this slow motion of his quadruple toe loop, you can see right there after he double foots the landing that he is too far back, not on an edge, is unable to hold that edge, and turns and goes to the knee.
For required elements, 5.1.
There's his coach, Audrey Wiesiger, longtime coach on the right side of your screen, and his wife Lisa on the left. First set of marks now. 4.8 is the low mark here.
Now remember, you got a 4/10 of a point for the mistake on the quadruple toe and 3/10 of a point for the fall on the triple axel. There's 7/10 right off there.
Yeah, and with the presentation mark stick, that puts Michael Weiss down in third place. He's behind Eldridge and Johnny Weir. What a disappointment. On the ice next, Matt Seavoy, who surprised everyone last year by landing a spot on the podium at national action here at Staples Center in downtown Los Angeles. The short program for the men with Todd Eldridge, the 5-time U.S. champ, in the lead so far. Johnny Weir in second ahead of Michael Weiss. But here is the reigning U.S. bronze medalist, Matt Seavoy.
He's a very imaginative skater and a wonderful stylist. Look at the position of this flying camel.
You
right
can
here.
Never forget about this guy, Dick. Last year, all the talk about the big three, Weiss and Gable and Eldridge, and Matt Seavoy was able to stand on the podium.
His triple axel right here. Beautiful, beauty, beauty. this two-jump combination, a triple flip, triple toe, right here. You know, nice, nice speed coming out of that. Good flow. No tiny little curled-in edge. That's what made it good.
21 years of age from Peoria, Illinois. Has not had the kind of season that he enjoyed last year, though. On the Grand Prix circuit, he did not make the Grand Prix final this year. Full-time student at Bradley University.
Right number of turns in that. Remember, he had to do 6 revolutions on each foot, and he did. He also did it well. Here is the footwork, the required moves going into this triple jump. A Lutz right there. Now, straight line footwork, good energy, good speed. Combination, camel, half sit spin, perfect position. Look at the stretch of that leg in that half sitting position, back sit position, camel, cannonball, catch foot, and a back scratch, and a really nice performance. You know, no mistakes, very, just first rate all the way around. That, I'll bet you a nickel to a plug donut, secures him a place on the Olympic team.
Long way to go here in LA before it's over,
but I like to bet when they're plug donuts.
If I can find one, I'll bet you that. Goes Seavoy, and a standing ovation for the reigning U.S. bronze medalist. Matt Seavoy off to a great start.
Now look at the entrance into this triple axel. Look at him as he goes forward. The body is really quite straight, and that's a good starting position, and that's 90% of the reason why the jump was so first rate. Now look at this combination, the ending of the program. First the camel, then a half sit spin with a stretched out leg. That's a beauty of a position. Back camel. Now watch him drop into a back sit spin. Now cannonball it. Now watch him stretch up into the air with a catch foot position and a back scratch with the hands over the head. Spiffy.
And here are the judges' marks.
What a performance by Matt Seavoy in the most critical event of the year, certainly, maybe the most critical of his career. The first set of marks for required elements. There they are, Dick.
Well, and they're very good marks. You know, if you notice, I mean, they're 5.6s and 5.8s and 1.55, and those are very nice marks. It was a solid all-around performance.
Those are higher than the required element marks for Todd Eldridge, but look at the presentation marks. Those are a little bit lower.
And they're here and there, and I think, frankly, his presentation is really the best in the business.
So placements from the judges from first down to third, and Matt Seavoy currently in second place, right behind Eldridge.
Okay, Terry, well, Matt Seavoy, no mistakes in the short program. Last year, you stood on the podium at the U.S. Championships. You didn't go to the World Championships. This year, if you get on the podium, you're going to the Olympics. What do you think of that?
It's pretty incredible. You know, I've never been in this position before, so, I mean, the short's not even over yet, so we'll see what happens at the end of that. But, you know, I'm happy to be where I am, and I hope I can stay there.
What makes you so technically sound on the jumps in the short program when you're under so much pressure?
Well, this year it hasn't been a strong technical program for me, but I've trained it well since my last competitions, and I'm learning more how to focus for each individual jump rather than the whole program. So I think that's helped a lot.
Well, good start in the short program.
Thank you.
Good luck in the free.
Thanks.
Okay. Terry, back to you.
Back here at Staples Center in Los Angeles, the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships continue. The reigning champ, Timothy Gable, set to go. He knows how difficult this event is going to be.
At Nationals, I expect the level of competition to be really intense. The U.S. has a lot of depth this year. We have a lot of seasoned competitors, former Olympians that are still in it, and I think it's really going to be a challenge this year to get on that podium.
Also representing the Winterhurst Figure Skating Club in Lakewood, Ohio, here is
Todd Eldridge has the lead so far over Matt Savoy and Johnny Weir, as Michael Weiss is down in 4th place here at the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships, the men's short program, setting the table for the free skate. Here's the reigning champ, Timothy Gable, on the ice. Not only trying to repeat as the men's champion, but also make his first Olympic team.
And he's known for his quadruple jumps. Look at this quadruple salchow. Triple toe. Now that's the tightest, cleanest, quickest revolution in the air that you'll see. Very fast. Superb revolution. This a triple axel. Now watch him step up into this. You see how fast the revolution is in the air. That's really brilliant, the tightness of those turns.
He makes it look so easy, Dick.
Footwork here into a triple flip. And that also complete.
Timothy Gable, originally from Rolling Meadows, Illinois, was then in Cleveland, but has been with Frank Carroll since May of 2000 out here in the LA area in El Segundo.
Little slip off there. That was a catching of an edge, and I doubt that that will cause any deduction in a mark whatsoever. Oh, but that one will. Now that was again the same thing, but this was a much more serious one, and it occurred right in the middle of the serpentine footwork, which is, I mean, that will really cause a deduction. This sit, change, sit. Good back position, much better than it was a few months ago, even a year ago. This straight line footwork right here. Butterfly to a back sit spin. Good position. Now watch him pull it up into the air. Back scratch. End.
Started so well, but then the struggles in the middle of that program.
But you know, I'm told that there'll be as much as a 3/10 of a deduction for the fall during the footwork. That seems kind of excessive, but I guess that's what the rules are. That's what it'll be. Certainly the first slip should not cause anything.
But very little margin for error, as Michael Weiss has found out.
But also the rest of his triple jumps, quadruple jumps, were so magnificent that I'm sure he'll be right up there to allow for deduction. Now look at this 3-turn right up into that magnificent salchow. The revolution so straight, the legs so tight, and again the same thing on the triple toe. Really, really just wonderful turns. Look at that. The magnificently tight legs and a good clean layout afterwards. Here, slight, not a very clean edge coming out with it. Didn't have good flow, but it was complete. And look here at this serpentine footwork. A slight miss right there. Not a great serious problem, but here, as he goes over the center of the serpentine to go from this circle to the next one, he catches an edge and goes down on both knees. 3/10 of a point down.
And here are the judges' marks for Timothy
He's
Gable.
made huge strides in his
required
artistry
elements.
since working with Frank Carroll. Now the marks. Now theoretically, because of the fall, there should be a 3/10 deduction at least, but we're not seeing it, Dick. We've got a number of 5.8s.
You've only got three places where they should have been a 3/10 deduction, and assuming everything else was perfect, it would have brought it down to 5.7. That would have changed the outcome of this particular part of this competition.
And look at this, with the presentation marks, a tie at the top. They're tied at first place. Gable and Eldridge both are in first place after these marks. And the ordinals from the judges from first down to third, very similar.
Well, they're exactly the same. 4 firsts, 3 seconds, and 2/3 for each of them.
So the standings after the short program. Who would have thought we would have seen a tie here? Eldridge and Gable tied in first place, then Matt Seavoy in third, ahead of Johnny Weir, the youngster, and Michael Weiss. It's been a struggle for him. He's got a lot of work to do. He's in 5th place right now. Let's go back and take a look at a comparison between Eldridge and Gable in terms of those placements, Dick.
Well, just look at it. There are 4 firsts for Todd Eldridge and 4 firsts for Timothy Gable, and the same separation goes down between 2nd and 3rd places. So there's an exact tie.
First time in recent memory. 2 tied at the top here. Both are with Peter Carruthers right now.
Okay, Terry, well, usually you're talking to one leader after the short program, but in this case, 2 U.S. champions and a tie for first after the short programs. Are you too surprised with this?
Totally. You know, I saw him skate. He skated well, and I don't think I've ever been in that situation where I've been tied after a short program. So it's kind of cool, actually.
Todd, you're trying to win your 6th U.S. title. What's the pressure like?
It's not that bad, actually. You know, I mean, you know, there's always pressure to go out and skate your best, but you know, I'm just going out there and do what I can. If I win my 6th, that's great. If not, and he takes his 2nd, then you know, that's fine as long as we both get to the Olympics.
Well, what's it like for you trying to repeat this year?
Well, this year I'm really just worried about trying to get a spot on the Olympic team. I mean, that's really my goal this year. And I don't want to put the pressure of defending my national title on top of trying to make the Olympic team. So I just want to come in and skate well, and got through the short pretty well, and hopefully do a good long and get one of the top 3 spots.
So now you guys got to battle it out in the free program.
Hopefully no more ties.
Well, good luck in the free program.
Thank you.
All right, let's join Terry Gannon now.
2002 State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. The original dance underway. Terry Gannon along with Susie Wynn and Peter Carruthers. The second phase of the competition for the ice dancers. And here are the standings after the compulsory dances. Naomi Lang, Peter Chernev, the 3-time and reigning U.S. champs, in the lead over Tanith Belbin and Belbin and Agosto. And then in third, Beata Handra and Charles Sienic. The top 2 teams will go to the Olympic Games. And here in the original dance, Susie Wynn, there are required elements.
Well, the rhythm combination, there's a very special attention paid to not only the selection, but the authentic interpretation of all the rhythms. The judges are looking for unison and difficulty in the footwork sequences. Control and creativity in the lifts and dance spins are important.
Representing the Broadmoor Skating Club in Colorado Springs, Colorado, here is Tiffany Heiden and Vazgen Azroyan.
And the first team that we will see, Tiffany Heiden and Vazgen Azroyan. Tiffany, 21 years old, originally from Minnesota. Vazgen is 24 years old, born in Odessa, Ukraine, was then in Moscow. This is a team that is in their 3rd season together, but their first representing the United States. They previously represented Armenia. Original dance, 2.5 minutes long, and 30% of the overall score, Susie.
They open up with the straight line footwork sequence. The judges are really looking for unison, difficulty. transitioning into the Paso Doble, the dance of the bullfighter. In the choreography, the woman's supposed to represent the cape, and the man's supposed to guide her through her movements.
When this team first got together, they were coached by Natalia Linichuk and Gennady Karponosov, well-known coaches. They moved over to Angelika Krylova, the 98-99 World Ice Dance champion, but have now gone under the tutelage of Rodoslav Sinitsyn. So they've moved around the past few years.
Changing coaches and countries. Well, they certainly cover the ice with great flow. The choreography needs to be a little more sophisticated, and they had a slip on one of their lifts just in the middle of the program.
Tiffany Heiden and Vazgen Royan getting things underway here in the original dance.
One of the requirements, a dance spin, it has to rotate at least 3 times. Their leg line was actually very nice on this required element.
There's a look at the panel of 9 judges working this original dance. We all have them, but only their opinions count. And there are specific deductions here in the OD, Susie.
Well, for a stumble or a brief interruption, it's a 1/10 deduction. A fall of one partner, 2/10. But a heavy deduction if both partners fall, 3/10 deduction.
4.8, 4.9, 4.8.
Now, there'll be 2 sets of marks, and in the original dance, the first is for composition. Range 4.7 up to 5.1.
Well, some of these may seem low, but the simplicity in this program reflects in the marks.
4.9.
And now the second set for presentation, the overall artistry of the program, 4.9 up to 5.3 for Tiffany Heiden and Vazgen Royan. With Susie Wynn, the original dance underway, the second phase of the competition, there are 3 in all for the ice dancers. Remember, the top 2 go to the Olympics in Salt Lake City. And you look at that, that's not the only stipulation here. You also, Susie, have to be a U.S. citizen, and that certainly comes into play for ice dancers.
Well, it's very important because the population for ice dancers is dwindling. A lot of people have to venture out internationally to find just that perfect matchup. Now, 4 of the top 6 teams here are international matchups, meaning one half of the team is American and the other half of the team is from somewhere else. Now, a team that falls into that category, the 3-time national dance champions, Naomi Lang and Peter Chernev. He's Russian, but last year he became a U.S. citizen after a 5-year waiting period. Just in a nick of time now, he can represent the U.S. in Salt Lake City. Just behind them, Tanith Belbin and Belbin and Agosto, a very talented young team, however, may not be able to go to the Olympics because she's Canadian, which poses quite a problem. So the door is wide open for Beata Handra and Charles Sienic, but what this event offers is a menagerie of great ice dancing, cultures, and a diversity, melting pot of ice dancing, really.
Please welcome now Jessica Joseph and Brandon Foresight.
Here's a team with high expectations. They are currently in 5th place after the compulsory dances. Jessica Joseph and Brandon Foresight. Jessica, 19 years of age, from Detroit. Brandon is 22, originally from Boston.
The flamenco, a very strong dance characterized by stomping. The feet are of the essence. They're important.
This team is the reigning U.S. bronze medalist. Jessica used to skate with Charles Butler, and together they were the '98 World Junior Champions, but they split up when Charles retired from skating to attend college. Before last season, when these two got together, Jessica hadn't skated competitively since '98.
Transitioning into a waltz. This waltz definitely fits in with the flamenco and the paso doble, a little Latin feel. Rotational lift. A strong performance. They have really improved since last season. They're coming together as a team, and they're skating with great speed.
Trying to make a bit of a comeback here. Mentioned they're the bronze medalists from last year in 5th right now, but that's the way to do it with a performance like that.
They actually have a very nice close position in this dance spin, which helps the centering and the quickness of the spin, and the expression and the intimacy is very important.
5.0.
And now along with their coaches, Sasha Julin, one of them on the right side of your screen right there, the '93 world champion. First set of marks, 5.0 to 5.3.
They are such accomplished skaters. I would have liked to have seen more difficulty, especially in the footwork sequences. A little slim.
Now the presentation marks, and those are higher, 5.2 up to 5.5.
Well, they're confident. She was an Olympian.
And this crowd loved them. Joseph and Foresight, a solid showing.
5.4 and 5.5.
Okay.
Up next, Kimberly Navaro and Robert. The original dance rolls on the ice right now. Kimberly Navaro and Robert Schmolo. Kimberly, 20 years of age from Santa Rosa, California, and Robert is 24 from Cincinnati.
They have a very lighthearted approach in their expression. Again, a lot of improvements since last year. They're coming together as a team. Their partnering is much better.
They were 6th at the U.S. Nationals last year. They both live in Manhattan, New York City, and both are college students. Robert actually lives only a block away from the World Trade Center from Ground Zero, and after September 11th, could not get back into his apartment, had to stay with an aunt during that time. It was very tough to train, go to school.
It seems like all of the skaters that live in the New York area really had to take a week off to sort of settle in. Very lovely extension on this dance spin with her leg line. again, using the footwork as an opportunity to show your skill, to show your unison, and to really interpret the flamenco, which is the stomping and a difficult. See, it's so hard to stay on target with your partner. You've got them in your visual. They certainly are great performers. They enjoy the dance, but a stumble, it really breaks the spirit of the performance.
Her mother was an ice skater. She competed in pairs back in 1970 U.S. Nationals and then toured with the Ice Capades, Kimberly Navaro and Robert Schmallow.
It's so important for skaters to have nice leg lines. See how she's got a great extension that creates a very pretty picture. The dance spins need to get more creative. They're relatively a new requirement. And you can see the potential that they have through their body line in this lift. It's a little, they have a struggle getting into the lift. Once the picture's there, it's very nice. And the dismount could be more interesting and set down a little more gently. She's almost on her toe pick there. But where there will be clear deductions is here in the footwork. She has a stumble. She catches her toe pick on that back lunge. She recovers well, a 1/10 deduction.
See what the judges think now. The first set for composition, 4.4 up to 5.0.
Oh, very consistent there.
Heavy breathing going on, out of breath still after that performance. Presentation marks, 4.8 to 5.4.
Well, that's a nice mark. The 5.4 is certainly encouraging.
For Navaro and Schmallow here in the original dance.
Everybody in the original.
Up next, the 2001 U.S. silver medal. Here in the original dance, Joseph and Foresight are your leaders right now. But here's one of the overall favorites, Tanith Belbin and Belbin and Agosto. Benjamin is 19 years old, from the Chicago area, and is 17, and from Montreal. And as Susie mentioned earlier, she is a Canadian citizen, not yet a U.S. citizen, so they cannot go to the Olympic Games, even if they finish in the top 2.
You can see right away the command that they have as they stroke onto the ice. Everything they do is very important, and they engage immediately into the audience. Worked very hard at trying to create more difficult steps. That's so difficult. Hard to stay in unison, but the difficulty blows me away.
Susie, and I mean this seriously, how hard is it to skate in a long dress like that? It seems to be getting in the way every time she turns.
It is. You have to, I would imagine that she would practice with a long skirt just to get used to the feel. And so many of their movements have a low level close to the ice. You have to work with that. To maintain the speed, with their bodies being so close and the dance holds being so tight, is really, it says a lot about how well trained they are and what great athletes they are. I am so impressed. She's only 17, he's 19, yet they have this sophisticated musicality. They understand it. They completely get it.
Got some great experience on the Grand Prix circuit this year, too. Kenneth Belbin and Benjamin Agosto.
Here they go into almost a low sit-spin position and then a back sit-spin position and maintain speed. The unison gets off there. Kenneth falls off her alignment, but the recovery and the difficulty is simply wonderful. Seamless here. He lifts her like she's a feather, and the transition is a change of curve, then it turns into a rotation position. They're able to adjust through that lift. Seamless. And see here, watch how their bodies are touching. It's so difficult to skate close because your feet get caught. You really have to have great technique.
Last year, they were the silver medalists, trying to get at least that much this year. Maybe challenge Lang and Chernev. That might be really tough. But first set of marks, 5.6s and 5.7s.
Kenneth seems disappointed, but these are still some very nice marks. They have a long career ahead of them.
Presentation marks all 5.8 for Belbin and Agosto. Up next, the married couple of Melissa Gregory and Dennis Petukhov. They're on the ice when we come back.
Please welcome Melissa Gregory and Dennis Petukhov.
Belbin and Agosto, your leaders here in the original dance, over Joseph and Foresight, but on the ice right now, Melissa Gregory and Dennis Petukhov. Another one of those international teams. Melissa is from Chicago. Dennis is from Moscow. Been together for the last year and a half. They've been married for 11 months now. Won the Midwestern Sectionals.
I spoke to their coach, Sandy Hess. She said that when they met, it was love at first sight, so that chemistry does come across.
Is there such a thing, Susan?
It's love at first sight. I'm just commentating an ice dancing, Terry.
Out of your category, huh?
Another team with great potential. They really have added a lot to this dance competition.
It's an amazing story, really. They met via the internet. Dennis put out a search for a partner. Melissa responded. Not only did they end up together on the ice, but now they're married. Chalk one up for the internet, I guess, huh?
I'd say so.
Melissa Gregory and Dennis Petukhov.
their unison is very good, but they tend to use more than 3 steps in between their turns and twizzles, which is 1/10 deduction. But for being so new together, I was impressed with their tremendous unison. The difficulty in their lifts is apparent. You can see here he's in a spread eagle position as he lifts her. She's got a lovely stretch through her back and through her leg line, and a nice delicate set down. And Terry, I'm going to let you call that replay.
Enough said.
5.3, 5.2.
Well, they certainly get the prize for most kisses. Not only did we just see that one, but they've kissed twice in the kiss and cry, appropriately named. First set now, 5.1 to 5.4.
These are very secure marks for their first season together. Excellent.
How about presentation now? A low mark 5.3 up to 5.7.
Wow, that's nice, that 5.7.
Gregory and Petukhov in second place, right behind Belbin and Agosto. They ought to be thrilled with that.
5.7 and 5.5. A warm welcome now for Beta Handra and Charles Sienic.
So far here in the original dance, Belbin and Agosto have the lead over Gregory and Petukhov, then Joseph and Foresight. But here are Beata Handra and Charles Sienic. They finished 4th the last 3 trips to the national championships. Currently in 3rd. Susie, this is their first competition of the season, too, because Charles had knee surgery in August. And while recovering, he developed a blood clot in his leg. He was off the ice for 2.5 months. How difficult must that be?
Well, when you have to step into a national championship, such an important competition, Olympic year, but you know, they've handled it so well. They're very motivated. This is beautiful straight line footwork. Their unison is superb. Their posture, very secure. Transitioning into the tango. Will show itself as in the speed on that lift. It moved a little slow. With time, those things started to neaten up.
Beata and Charles have been married since 1996. He's 33 years old, and when you think about guys like Todd Eldridge at the age of 30 being called ancient, think how can he be out here? But in ice dance, it's not unusual to see the age is higher.
Not at all. It takes time to really develop a look and the sophistication. So it's more accepted. That's why I stayed in so long. Well, for our debut at the National Championship, they should be very proud. This selection of music really suits them. A very powerful performance.
Really battling for that second spot on the Olympic team with perhaps Joseph and Foresight, the other team that's up there and is eligible to go to the Olympics in Salt Lake. Beata Handra and Charles Sienic.
I really like the flair of this program. One of the dance spins, the shape could be more exact. Perhaps her right knee could bend a little bit more and her left leg straighten to create a more clear shape. And their lifts are actually quite difficult. This was a little slow, but the transition difficult. She's in a stag position. His feet are fairly close together. But the expressiveness of their movement was quite nice.
5.4, 5.1, 5.2.
Last year at Nationals, they were really displeased with their marks. They thought they had skated much better than what the judges gave them. We'll see here, composition 5.1 to 5.5.
The 5.4s, 5.5 seem like solid marks. 5.1 a little low for this performance.
5.6.
Second set now for presentation, 5.3 up to 5.7, so those are higher. And Handra and Sienic able to get up for second place, right behind Belbin and Agosto.
Naomi Lang and Peter Chernev.
Your top three right now in the original dance: Belbin and Agosto, Handra and Sienic, and Gregory and Petukhov. Remember, the top two, if they're eligible, go to the Olympics. But here are the headliners, the three-time and reigning U.S. champions, Naomi Lang and Peter Chernev. You mentioned the fact that Peter received his U.S. citizenship, and they are eligible for the Olympics. He is from St. Petersburg, Russia, originally. Naomi Lang is a Native American from the Kirk tribe. Grew up in Northern California and in Michigan.
What makes this straight line footwork so interesting is how they weave in and out and mirror one another. The quality in their skating is so wonderful. These turns are called twizzles, turns on one foot. The audience is really getting involved.
Shoulders above the rest, right?
Absolutely. They're really in a class all to themselves, just the maturity. And this, too, a debut for them.
That's right. They've been injured. In fact, he's dealt with shin splints all season long. They went to the Goodwill games, but they didn't skate at all in the Grand Prix Series. Naomi Lang and Peter Chernev.
They both are just such tremendous skaters. They have tremendous control in their turns. They're capable of such difficulty. And you can see the unison in these turns, the twizzles. They almost look like one form, one person. And the speed that they capture as they come out of the corner. They skate so close together, and watch their feet and their leg lines very well matched on their extensions.
5.8, 5.8,
Not a bad debut on the season. First set now for composition, 5.7 to 5.9.
Well, I really had it in the 5.8, 5.9 range, just because of the difficulty and the strength that they had in their performance.
Yeah. 2 5.7s there. How about the presentation? Look at this. Usually a 6.0.
I believe that's their third to date.
Third ever at Nationals. You're exactly right.
Who's counting?
You incorrectly. Naomi Lang, Peter Chernev, another 3. The 3-time and reigning U.S. champs looking for number 4 and to go to Salt Lake City with momentum.
A warm welcome now for Kakani Young and Ikaka Young.
That is a tough performance to follow. Lang and Chernev in the lead over Belbin and Agosto and Handra and Sienic in third. But here are Kakani and Ikaka Young. She is 19. He is 18 years of age from Oregon City, Oregon. Brother-sister team. They were born in Hawaii, grew up in Oregon, but moved to Washington to live and train about 5 years ago. Their mom moved to Washington with them, but their dad still lives in Portland.
I had a chance to work with this couple during a seminar. Normally when you work with brother and sister teams, there's a lot of fighting and tension, but they were such hard workers and such nice people. It was really quite a pleasure. Strong upper bodies in this tango, great control. You can see with some of the younger teams, they'll skate further apart, which creates a gap between the two skaters. If they can't get as much speed, that's something that develops over time with maturity.
This is only their first season competing at the Senior Nationals. They won the bronze medal at juniors last year. Something on the ice right now. Part of her costume?
I think it's actually a hairpiece or a ribbon of some sort. But you know, first year senior, that was a very solid performance, well choreographed program. In time, their speed and positioning will get even stronger. You can see how close they were to her ribbon on the ice. A dance spin, they're close together in their upper bodies. It just needed to move a lot faster to have the impact.
4.6, 4.7,
So now the marks.
4.8,
4.6, the low mark here, Susie.
5.2,
Now 5.2.
4.7,
Yeah, these are respectable
4.7,
marks.
and 4.7.
Especially in their first trip to the Senior Nationals. Second set of marks now for presentation. 4.7, the low mark, up to, once again, a 5.2.
Well, that 5.2 certainly encouraged them. A lot of potential here.
The Youngs find themselves in 8th place after the original dance. But it's Naomi Lang and Peter Chernev who have the lead Heading into the free dance, ahead of Belbin and Agosto, Handra and Sienic are eligible for the Olympics. Gregory and Petukhov are not. Joseph and Foresight are. So that's your top 5 as we look ahead to the free dance. Right now, Peter Carruthers standing by with the leaders.
All right, Terry, well, an outstanding start for the U.S. ice dancing champions, and it looks like you're on your way to doing that again. Another 6.0 to add to the list. How did that feel?
Oh, it felt incredible. It's our first 6.0 in the original dance, and just, you know, overcoming so many obstacles this year already, it just felt so good to be out there.
And you're now a U.S. citizen. It's almost a year to this day. What's that feel like?
Feels like the dream is getting closer and closer to come true, you know, since I got citizenship. I mean, it's incredible pressure, responsibility, and yet at the same time I feel like we're that close to the dream, you know, so
well,
it's great.
Good luck with the rest of the U.S. championships.
Thank you.
All right, Terry, back to you.
All right, Peter, thanks. Naomi Lang, Peter Chernev, well on their way to making their first trip to the Olympic Games. You can see them go for their 4th straight title in the free dance on ABC Sports on January 20th, beginning at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. When we come back, we'll preview what promises to be an outstanding ladies competition here, including Angela Nicodin, an outstanding year despite the tragedy in her life. 16-year-old Sarah Hughes, who finished 2nd to Michelle Quan last year. And how about Sasha Cohen, the teenager, the silver medalist 2 years ago? She's back. And, of course, Michelle Quan going for title number 6. A pre-5 national titles and more perfect 6.0s at nationals than any skater in U.S. history. But for Michelle Quan, her place at the top of American figure skating is more tenuous than ever. She struggled mightily this season. And with the Olympics just a month away, Quan must show her competition that she is still queen of the ice. If she leaves the door open, however, the challengers are ready to rush through. Sarah Hughes has climbed steadily at nationals, from 4th to 3rd to 2nd last year. This year, she defeated Quan at Skate Canada. Making the podium is not the goal for this 16-year-old. She plans to show she's a legitimate contender for an Olympic title. Angela Nicodin has skated through a season of heavy emotion. The 21-year-old lost her coach to cancer, then fell short of a place at the Grand Prix final. She's endured so much these last few weeks. Can she hang tough and fight her way to an Olympic berth? Sasha Cohen dazzled at the 2000 Nationals with a silver medal performance, but sat out last year because of an injured back. Her inconsistency over recent months has been frustrating, but she's no less intent to regain her podium spot and make the Olympic team. There's also the pairs competition, where Ina and John Zimmerman look to grab a 3rd straight national title. With only 2 pairs qualifying for the Olympics, the pressure is high among the contenders, including 99 U.S. champions Danielle and Steve Hartzel, and 2-time national runners-up Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulan. Staples Center is where they've come to start their run towards Olympic gold. It's the pairs and ladies short programs from the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. And the ever-present rush hour traffic here in Los Angeles. At least it's moving. That's a good sign. The Harbor and Santa Monica freeways just a little way from the Staples Center here in downtown LA. We welcome you back inside to our continuing coverage of the 2002 State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Hi again, everybody. I'm Terry Gannon. Hopefully you were with us a short time ago over on ESPN2 for the original dance. Straight ahead, we've got the pairs short program and the ladies short program. Now, all of the skaters not only thinking about national titles, of course, but also making the Olympics a trip to Salt Lake. For the pairs, there are 2 spots available. For the ladies, there are 3. The pairs are up first, and we turn to the 5-time U.S. champion, Peggy Fleming. What about the 2-time and reigning U.S. champs, Ina, John Zimmerman? They have taken large strides this year.
Well, Terry, Kyoko and John have patched all the holes in their leaky competitive boat from the past 2 years. Not only are they 2 or 3 miles ahead of everyone here at Nationals, but suddenly they have a legitimate shot at a medal in Salt Lake. With the best season of their lives coming to a peak, they could become the first American pair to medal in the Olympics since Watson and Oppegaard in 1988. And if this season is any indication, John and Kyoko have entered world-class territory, and they truly look like United States champions.
No doubt. Of course, Kitty and Peter Carruthers did it at the Olympics in '84.
They were pretty cool, too.
The silver medal, too. What about the rest of the field? Dick Button comes in right now, and are you intrigued at all by the rest of the pairs here?
Well, I think what always intrigues me are not only new skaters, but skaters that are changed, that have to develop themselves, that have to reinvent themselves. Now, here at this championship, there's a relatively new pair, Kavich and Parum, and they're rising impressively. And there's a pair that's been in the Nationals for quite a while, but they've been suffering from injuries. They've had to reinvent, repair themselves, and learn how to come back into competition. They haven't been able to compete this year. That's Scott and Dulan. And what they've done is they've gotten out of competition over the fall with the Grand Prix series, and for 2 months now they've prepared for coming into this Nationals. They have a wonderful quality between the two of them. They're matched physically, and they have a nice set of unison. So it's always invigorating to see new people and to see something new just around the corner. It's what makes the theater fascinating. It's what makes skating and the Nationals fascinating.
Be interesting to see how it plays out. As always, there are 8 required elements in this short program, and watch for the side-by-side jumps. That is always a key. So we're set to go here. The pairs short program, 2 minutes, 40 seconds in length, worth 1/3 of the overall score. And the first team taking the ice, Laura Handy and Jonathan Hunt. We saw them last year at Nationals, where they came in 6th. Laura, 21 years old, from Atlantic City, and Jonathan is 20 from Rochester, Michigan. They live and train in Newark, Delaware.
And it's rather unusual for a pair to open up with a pair spin. Usually it's one of the more difficult jumps or jump combinations or lifts that they like to get out of the way first. One of the great difficult moves for pair skaters are the individual side-by-side triple jumps. This side-by-side triple toe loop will test their individual solo ability.
And falling on that jump on his part is a 0.3 deduction. Very nice, smooth overhead lift. Good transition in the moves. Very smooth landing.
This throw triple salchow, good height, but the landing not secure. She did not check out. That means stop the rotation on the landing, and she couldn't hold the edge.
Handy, you may remember, used to skate with Paul Binabose, and they won a bronze medal at the '99 National Championships. Paul fractured his skull in practice that year. It was a scary incident. You may remember that. And he's recovering very well, now coaching down in Sugar Land, Texas.
And one of the difficult things is to go into this in a flat position. Her fanny kind of sticking up in the air reduces the attractiveness of that death spiral.
Is that right?
Well, I guess from what point we're looking at it.
Laura Handy, Jonathan Hunt from Newark, Delaware.
I knew I was in trouble on that one, Terry.
Tough to get out of that one. Handy and Hunt, their effort here in the pairs short.
And here is a look at the side-by-side triple toe loops. It's really hard to get this timing correctly and smooth. And she does a fine triple, but he is leaning back on his edge and could not hold on to it. And that was a 0.3 deduction on that bad move that he started out this program. And here's a look at the throw, triple Salchow, that back inside edge takeoff. She's very straight in the air, very nice. It looks like she could have held on to that landing if she had just pushed that free lay back a little bit more.
And here's the panel of judges. This is a panel of 9 working the pair short program. By the way, there are 7 women and 2 men all across America. They come from, all volunteers. And Peggy, there are deductions here.
And here are a few of them. Just falling on a throw jump is a 0.3 deduction, and stepping out of a landing on a throw jump is a 0.2 deduction. There are a lot of examples here, but they are very crucial on every element of the program.
Yeah, there'll be 2 sets of marks as always. The first for required elements, the technical aspect of the program, and the range 4.2 up to 4.8.
4.6, 4.2, 4.3, 4.6.
This pair has been together since the spring of 2000, so not that long a time.
They're working with Tracy Politis and Ron Ludington.
Ron Ludington coaching the Carruthers to the silver medal at the Olympics back in '84. Second set now for presentation. The overall artistry of the program, 4.8 up to 5.3 for Laura Handy and Jonathan Hunt. And taking the ice right now here in the short program, Larissa Spielberg and Craig Joeigh. Larissa, 21 years of age, from East Lansing, Michigan. And Craig is 23 from Cleveland. They train now in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. This is the team that captured the bronze medal at the national championships in 2000, a couple of seasons ago.
Again, the great requirement, the side-by-side triple jumps. These are Salchows. Here they are. Watch the security of the landing edge. It was not to be for her.
This throw triple loop. His back outside edge takeoff. He throws her up in the air. Oh, and her legs were crossed. She hadn't finished the rotation. That will be a 0.3 deduction on that move.
A team, Peggy, that's really struggled since that bronze medal a couple of seasons ago. Last year they placed 9th. This past summer they've dealt with injuries. She broke her wrist. They were away from the ice. They couldn't skate in the Grand Prix.
It's really unfortunate because they do have a lot of potential. Beautiful line on the ice and very well matched physically.
Side-by-side spins. The important thing here is that they both be spinning at the same speed and in the same timing. Not bad. The important thing in pair skating is that 2 shall skate as 1, and that this spin, for example, reflect that. Combination pair spin. Same positions are important. Same arches, same style. That was an okay performance. It certainly, aside from the mistakes that were made, it did not sing as a pair skating performance.
Larissa Spielberg, Craig Joeigh trying to get back to that form that got them to the podium in 2000.
Now, these triple Salchows side by side, look at her legs. right here. You see his are crossed. Hers are not quite so crossed, not straight. She's too far back on the heel. She can't hold the landing, and that does it.
Well, you would think someone named Spielberg would do okay in this part of the country. Not far from Hollywood. First set of marks, required elements 4.0 to 4.8.
Very nice marks and very acceptable. You know, they were just, what can I tell you? They're young, they need development, but they're very energetic and they've got a lot of talent. And I think we'll see a lot of them in the world of pair skating.
Presentation marks, there they are, 4.6 up to 5.4 for Spielberg and Joeigh.
4.9.
Coming up next, the team that's captured the silver medal the past 2 seasons, Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulan. But first, Dick takes a look at one aspect of the rule book of...
Would you please welcome now Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulan.
On the ice right now, one of the top teams here, certainly with a legitimate chance to make it to Salt Lake City. The 2-time and reigning U.S. silver medalists, Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulan.
They're well matched physically and stylistically.
And they are opening with the side-by-side triples. Very difficult for these pair teams and very important, a very good start.
Now on this lasso lift, look at the turnover position that she goes through right there. One arm turning into a semi-star lift, but a little bit of trouble coming down out of that landing. She hit his shoulder, not as good as it could have been.
This team has a number of goals here in LA. Number 1, to be on the podium. Number 2, to make it to Salt Lake City, but also to prove that he is healthy, because Philip has a stress fracture in his hip. He suffered in July.
Very nice throw, triple Salchow. That will help them a lot in this short program, because every one of these elements counts so much. This is actually their first competition of the season because they have had so many injuries. They've only been back on the ice for 2 months in preparation for this national championship. I think they look quite good.
Now again, look at the unison here. Whether they spin and turn exactly the same, that's very good to begin with. A little bit off there. Gets sort of back into it here, and then misses again. Death spiral. Watch again the descent and see how she arches her back. A little bit of a hip rise there. And a slip on his part. But you know, they're stylistically well matched. They're physically well matched. They have a sense of choreography and an awareness of what they're doing, but they need finishing. The timing will then follow as they develop along with this.
And Dick, how could you be on the top of your game with this, the first major competition of the season for Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulan?
Here is a look at their triple toes at the beginning of the program that started off so well. They are very well matched in the air. The timing and the unison was terrific, and a very strong landing. And here at the end of the program, watch this death spiral and watch him slip off of his edge. Very unfortunate, and that will be a slight deduction on that particular move. But otherwise, they skated terrific. Here is a look at our slow motion replay of this throw. Triple Salchow taking off from that back inside edge, throwing her up in the air. Very tight turns in the air. Look at her legs crossed very neatly, and that nice strong landing, that nice extension on the free leg.
Aaron Ryan,
Hi, Pat.
And now the judges' marks for Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulabon.
Yeah, it is too bad for a mistake that late to occur after a very solid program. Required element marks 4.8 up to 5.3.
Well, you have to keep your focus and keep your attention on every single move. You can't give up until it's over.
But a solid comeback competition here for them, don't you think?
Absolutely, absolutely. They should feel very proud of themselves.
And there are the presentation marks, and those are solid as well for Tiffany Scott and Philip Dulabon, the reigning U.S. silver medalists. Up next, a young team that could be one of the two taking the ice right now, the team of Ena Inoue and John Baldwin Jr. Ena originally from Tokyo, and John is from Santa Monica. They were at the Nationals last year. They finished 11th. She is not a U.S. citizen, so should they make a huge run here, they could not compete at the Olympics.
But again, we come to those very difficult side-by-side triple jumps that pair skaters have to endure. These side-by-side triple toes.
And that'll be a 0.3 deduction because he fell on that jump. And now another difficult move, this throw, triple Salchow, the back inside edge takeoff. Nice height, and she was determined to make that landing.
Did you notice how stiff the landing leg was, but she rode right through it. Side-by-side spins. Look at how large the circle of her foot is skating there. Again on this death spiral, watch the back inside edge. Now watch the descent. The necessity of keeping the body straight. She is not.
John Baldwin is no rookie. We've seen him many times before, but he was a single skater. He's come to the U.S. Championships 14 times in the men's event.
That's incredible. That's endurance.
Or enthusiasm.
You gotta have both.
Now on this tap, first she taps her foot, rises into the air. Now watch the switching of the legs, the one-arm position, and the descent.
And now this final move, this pair spin. A little slow on the transitions of those moves. Not very together. But they were pretty exciting.
Yeah, they had speed and energy and a little bit of excitement, and the fact that they were able to pull through, you know, was really very nice, except for the unfortunate fall in the side-by-side triple toes. It was not a bad performance.
Ena, who works part-time as an intern at a hospital, and John, who works as a salesman at a car dealership. Fine time to practice, too. Ena Inoue and John Baldwin Jr.
And here is a look at the side-by-side triples. Here they take off and tap in. Very nice in the air, but his legs were crossed when he made that landing, and he could not hold on to it. Very unfortunate, and that will be a 0.3 or 4 deduction. And here is that throw, triple Salchow, and she was determined to make that landing, and she really threw that free leg out and really held on to it. Good for her.
Here are the judges' marks for Ena Inoue and John Baldwin.
Well, Peggy, here's how good our director, Doug Wilson, is. You mentioned Joe Watson. He gets a shot of her a couple of minutes later. And the kiss and cry coaching these two. First set now for required elements, 4.4 up to 4.9.
They're about right. You know, it wasn't an exciting program from a technical point of view, but an acceptable one.
And now the second set for presentation, 5.0 to 5.4. Good performance from Ino and Baldwin in second place behind Scott and Dulan. Two spots available on the U.S. Olympic team for the pairs, and here's a team that's right in the thick of things. Stephanie Kelsavich and Erin Hartzel, the 2000 U.S. junior champions.
Well, this is a big opportunity for them, and they have a very ambitious program planned. They are going to be doing side-by-side triple Salchows, which is a more difficult side-by-side jump than the triple toe loop. They're opening with a throw triple Salchow. This back inside edge. Watch her lift it up into the air. Very nice, tight in the air.
Beautiful
very
landing
precise.
edge.
Stephanie, 17 years old from the Detroit area. Erin, 24 years of age from Chicago.
They're well-matched skaters. Good posture. These side-by-side triple Salchows, very difficult. Good, good.
Well done.
Oh, brother, I'll say. I mean, that's tough enough to do just by yourself, but have to do it with the unison of somebody else and adjust your timing to theirs is extremely difficult. Nice position. And this lift.
They came in fourth at the Senior Nationals last season, but really got some great international experience this year. Part of the Grand Prix series.
Very nice choreography to this music. Really interprets it very well. Little trouble on that side-by-side camel spin on his part.
The unison is not very good in this. The simultaneous turning. That takes a great deal of maturity and experience.
Good lift on that double twist. They are covering the ice really well. Good speed.
That spiral, she turns over into that back edge quite early in the death spiral. Their final move, a pair spin.
Very nice.
You know, it was interesting to watch them through the program. They started off very strong, and then you saw that it just like it needs a little more time and a little more maturity. They're a very wonderfully potential pair in the sport of pair skating, and, you know, very much to be admired. They're good positions. They match well. Everything was very nice. Now, look at this magnificent throw triple Salchow. The height, the stretch, the close legs, the beautiful position of the landing. That was very fine. It's a little bit close to the boards there. And on these side-by-side triple Salchows, again, the difficulty of this is extraordinary, particularly when you're doing it in connection with somebody else. There's a little cross foot on her part. Minor deduction, but really first rate. Look at how nice the back posture is on her part in this first picture here of the slow motion of the split double twist. Again, as she steps into the air, splits, and then stretch her legs, tightly pointed toes, very nice set down at the end of this difficult move.
For required elements.
And now the marks. Which more on the left side of your screen there, one of their coaches. Required elements 5.0 to 5.5, the high mark.
And those are very acceptable in this championship. I mean, that was really a first-rate, you know, performance. They're a young pair. They haven't had a lot of maturity, but as they gain that, it will really be, they'll be a substantially important pair, I think.
Hey, Dick, look at the presentation marks all the way up to 5.8.
Well, they're marvelous. They're really marvelous and very powerful. That side side-by-side triple Salchow stood them in good stead.
Mostly first-place ordinals from the judges for Kavich and Parum. Terry Gannon, Peggy Fleming, Dick Button, and Peter Carruthers here as we continue our coverage of the 2002 State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships. And on the ice right now, the '99 U.S. National Champions, Danielle and Steve Hartzel.
And this is their last year short program. They just went back to it. They were doing a different program earlier in the season, but they won the short program with this short program last year. They're opening with a throw triple loop. Very strong.
Did you notice her exit edge was a perfect curve? No inside edge leading into it. Now they too have planned triple toe loops here, side by side triple ones. There it is. He looked as though he doubled his. Side-by-side spins. Reasonably good unison. That's very hard to spin exactly at the same rotation speed as your partner.
This is a team that's had all kinds of problems since that win at Nationals in '99. Danielle fractured her kneecap in practice. The '99-2000 season was cut short because of that, and just really have not skated well this season. Remember, the top two go to the Olympics.
They are a very powerful team. I think this music is an excellent choice to really show off that power.
Straight line footwork. Their final move, a death spiral. Note the entrance here. She goes from a back shoot the duck position first into a back inside edge death drop position. Really very good performance all the way around. It's such a pleasure to see them skate well. They've had so many problems, so much bad luck, that now that they've skated well, it's really nice for them to see them have this the joy of this moment. Nice.
Their father, Larry, had a heart attack right before Christmas, but he is doing pretty well. He's here in L.A. watching them. Danielle and Steve Hartzel, the best that we have seen from them in quite some time here.
It's good to see. And here was their opening move, this throw triple loop. Watch this back outside edge takeoff as he lifts her up in the air, turns 3 turns, very tight in the air, and an extremely strong landing, and she holds that position. Shows wonderful control. And here was their side-by-side triple toe loops where he had problems with his, and he only does a double up there. He opens up and doesn't stay tight.
Let's see what the judges think now. The first set for required elements. Look at the low mark, Dick, 4.6.
Well, you know, the only thing I can attribute that to is, number one, there was a requirement of 0.3 of a point off for his not completing the same amount of revolutions that she had. And there were also some question, I think, about the quality of the spins, which were a little bit slower and rougher than maybe they should have been. But generally, the overall thing was a very, very nice attempt on their part.
Yeah, still seems pretty low. And these marks, the marks for presentation, are higher.
Well, there's a good differential there between 4.9 and 5.7.
Good performance. Got to be disappointed with the marks, though.
And we've just learned that John Zimmerman has a broken right index finger. Now, he went to the Grand Prix final not knowing that he had broken his finger, but right here we can see that it is being taped up. I spoke with him about this injury. He says it really doesn't bother him too much, but we'll have to see if that affects him in this short program. Terry, back to you.
And the pair's short program continues here at Staples Center. In the lead, Kavich and Parum over Scott and Dulan, and the Hartzels rounding out the top three right now. But here's the final team to take the ice, the two-time and reigning U.S. champions, Ena and John Zimmerman.
She represents the Skating Club of New York in New York City, and he the Birmingham Figure Skating Club in Birmingham, Alabama. Ena and John Zimmerman.
They're not only expected to make it to Salt Lake City, but based on what they've done this season, this is a team that could stand on the podium. It's no longer a long shot. They really challenged Shannon Zhao from China at the Grand Prix final. Just missed getting there on the podium. Ena and Zimmerman here to wrap up the pair's short program.
Where their coach, Tamara Moscovina, has said that this year they are no longer two individuals and they are finally a team.
Now on this double twist, watch the air position on her. Very nice. Beautiful height. Full completion of the revolution before she landed.
Now the side-by-side triple toe loops.
He's had a problem with side-by-side triple jumps over the last whole series of competitions, sometimes being able to achieve them, sometimes missing. Parallel squatting spread eagles as he lifts her into this throw triple loop.
Very nice. This program is very well done. It was choreographed by Alexander Zhulin, a Russian ice dancer who won a silver medal in 1994 Olympics.
His broken finger didn't seem to bother him there.
It sure didn't. I don't know if I'd want him to be my partner, really, with a broken finger doing these kinds of moves.
They're back inside Death Spiral. Watch the descent. She turns over very quickly, creates a nice arch.
I love this program. It has so much flair and just interesting choreography. Unfortunately, he had that fall on the triple toe. That'll be a 0.3 deduction on that mistake, but otherwise a very nice program.
So Ena and Zimmerman get their 2002 run toward a U.S. title underway here in L.A.
And the one mistake they made that was really serious, the side-by-side triple toes, watch him. See, he's leaning out there, the leg turned over. He's too far back on the heel, and of course down he goes, and that will be a 0.3 of a point deduction.
Well, there's the broken finger of John Zimmerman. At least it's not heavily bandaged and doesn't have a large splint on it.
Well, there's an element of trust that you have to have in the sport of pair skating, and they must have that very, very strong between the two of them.
Required element marks in the 5.4, 5.6 range.
And when you consider 3/10 of a point was required to be taken off, those are very good marks.
And now the second set coming their way for presentation. They should be higher. They usually are, and they are.
Oh, wow, not bad.
Look at those, Dick.
Those are very high marks, very consistent, and reflect, I certainly think, the position that they hold in the world of pair skating in the United States at this point.
All first-place ordinals from the judges. Ena and Zimmerman have the lead. So here's what your standings look like after this short program. The two-time and reigning champs on top. Kavich and Parum, the young team, in second ahead of Scott and Dulan, and the Hartzels round out the top four. Right now, the leaders are standing by with Peter.
Well, Terry, it's been a terrific season for these two. 3 silver medals on the Grand Prix. But, John, you had trouble in the short program on the triple toe loop. What happened at that point?
Yeah, well, I was having a rough warm-up. I just didn't have the confidence when I was warming these triple toe loops up. And we've been having a great season, and I don't know why this happened at this one competition. But, you know, Nationals does crazy things to people. And, you know, you can really feel confident one day and shaking a little bit the next. So I think it got the best of me tonight.
Nonetheless, you had good presentation scores. What's really turned it around for you this season, Kyoko?
You know, I think we just have worked really hard this year, and our confidence is there, and we just really enjoy what we're doing right now.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Terry, back upstairs to you.
All right, Peter, so they're not thrilled with their performance, but Ena and Zimmerman have set a very high standard this year, and they do have the lead heading to the free skate, which you can see over on ABC Family Channel tomorrow night beginning at 8 o'clock Eastern, along with live coverage.
Burbank, California, Michelle Quan.
Well, it hasn't been the best of years so far for Michelle Quan, but with a win here at Nationals and one at the Olympic Games, she'll make everyone forget about the struggles this season. Here she is, the 4-time world champion.
And it's almost as if this audience feels it owns her.
Well, this program is considered her signature program. She skated it in '98 at the Nationals, and she's returned to this program for this Olympic season.
She earned 7 perfect 6.0s for presentation for this program at the Nationals in '98.
Very solid opening, that triple Lutz double toe. Very nice position on that layback spin. Very unusual.
This footwork into this triple flip. It has to keep cadence going. It cannot stop and pause. Triple flip, beautifully done, exquisitely neat, clean, and under such control.
She was very excited about landing that. I could see the look on her face.
Good back position. Pressure is off, and this for her is a moment of joy.
Well, don't you think this audience feels that they own her, that she is theirs? That's sensational.
The 21-year-old from nearby Torrance, there's her dad, Danny. As teddy bears are flying even into our broadcast booth right now. A glimpse of the Michelle Quan that we are used to watching.
Yes, oh, she was wonderful. You can always count on her.
Now, one thing you have to remember is that she's skating first, and the judges have to leave room for everybody else. So don't get upset if she doesn't have all sixes.
There's such pressure on every element in this program. This triple Lutz double toe she started with. Very solid, real straight in the air. Nice edge in between these jumps and a nice flowing edge out of that double toe. And now this footwork into her triple flip. And these elements, I mean, these make the skaters so nervous. And she was right on, very solid.
And here's a look at the judging panel. It's a panel of 9, all volunteers from across the United States. And very little margin for error for the skaters in the short program, because for every mistake there is a deduction up to 0.4 of a point for a fall on a jump. Well, there's no place like home, I guess. And Michelle, well, for the first time in the kiss and cry with her dad. Danny, there's Kristi Yamaguchi, the Olympic champion in attendance. 1992 Olympic gold medalist. Now, the marks. Remember, last year, as well as in '98, she received 7 perfect sixes in the short program. Required element marks, the first of 2 sets.
You've also got to count up the 10th of points up to a 6 and allow then for every other skater that can be at the top level. So the judges have room to put her. Remember, their judges are not allowed to tie a skater either.
And look at the presentation marks. You have to imagine if she were not the first skater, you would see perfect sixes there for presentation.
Absolutely.
But what a great start to the Nationals for Michelle Quan. Coming up next, 16-year-old Sarah Hughes, who upset Michelle Quan and Arina Slutskaya at Skate Canada to take
the Skating Club of New York in New York City. Here is Sarah Hughes.
She may be just 2 performances away from realizing a lifelong dream of making it to the Olympic Games. 16-year-old Sarah Hughes takes the ice right now. The reigning U.S. silver medalist. She has climbed the ladder. 4th in '99, 3rd in 2000, 2nd in 2001.
Sarah said this year she feels the most prepared, both in her skating and emotionally. Double axel with a beautiful flowing edge on that landing. Triple Lutz double loop. More difficult combination than Michelle Quan did in the short program.
Look at the forward inside edge there. That's just beautiful. This is a more sophisticated performance than you'd think a 16-year-old could achieve.
Beautiful triple flip. And this layback spin doesn't get any better. Beautiful leg position and arm position.
Straight line footwork. Must keep the speed going. Must retain turns in both directions. And does cover the ice fully. That's what the judges are looking for.
gorgeous extension on these spirals, and she holds them so well. Very steady. Final combination spin. Good speed. Nice transitions. Exquisite.
Really one of the more sophisticated performances that we've seen. You know, over the years, you see so many people struggle in such a difficult way that isn't it marvelous to see the completion and the fulfillment of this, the fullness of the whole thing. It's just really mind-boggling.
And you saw Robin Wagner, her coach, friend, and mentor. She spends many hours every day with Robin Wagner, and Robin was in tears a moment ago. And a standing ovation from the crowd here at Staples Center for Sarah Hughes.
And here is her combination, the triple Lutz double loop, and watch this back outside edge takeoff, and watch her foot, how it flips over and does a flutz, goes on the inside edge instead of the outside edge, and right up into the double loop. There might be a slight deduction on that change of edge on that triple Lutz. But otherwise, it was a beautiful jump combination. And here, this footwork into the triple flip. Here she's taking off, doing this 3-turn and tapping in, and very nice in the air. A good, strong landing position. Just a solid performance.
The judges' marks for Sarah Hughes for
So now in the kiss and cry area, waiting for the marks. You would expect them to be high. The required element marks. Any surprises there, Peggy?
Well, I think because of that flutz in her triple Lutz may have been an element, but otherwise I don't understand why they're quite that low. I would have maybe given her a little bit higher because she did a more difficult combination.
And the presentation marks, those are higher, but maybe not as high as we expected either.
Right. I mean, that was a beautifully skated program. It really covered the ice, and she has an incredible extension.
So Sarah Hughes solidly in second place, right behind Michelle Quan. Back at Staples Center, the State Farm U.S. Figure Skating Championships continue. The ladies short program. Angela Nicodin, the reigning U.S. bronze medalist, on the ice, set to go. She says making the Olympic team would be the realization of a lifelong dream. 2 months ago, Angela entered her first Grand Prix Series event of the season in the midst of an unexpected struggle. This past September, her coach and confidant, Yelena Cherkasskaya, had become gravely ill and had returned home to Moscow for treatment. Angela was not told the extent of her illness, so as not to upset her in this Olympic season. But she went on to win the bronze at Nations Cup, and the very next day received the devastating news from her dad.
I didn't think, you know, the worst right away, and he told me, and I had no reaction. I couldn't cry, I couldn't scream, I didn't know what to do. And it was, you know, I just sat there and I cried for.
Angela had not only lost her coach, but her best friend and a second mother. Yelena, a dancer for the Bolshoi Ballet for 22 years, was the one person who had directed Angela to her finest season.
She's taught me so much that, you know, I'm definitely not going to forget anything she's ever told me. She, you know, found the love that I was missing for the sport. You know, I lost the joy of figure skating, of going to competitions, and she just turned everything around and made me believe in myself. You know, we didn't have to say one word, and we knew what each other were thinking, so it was just a very special bond that we had together that I don't think, you know, that I could be able to replace that. But she'll always be in my heart, and I keep her spirit in my mind. And with this competition, I know it's going to be very difficult, but I just have to remember what she always told me, and to just be strong and fight through it, and just make her proud.
She represents the All-Year Figure Skating Club in Culver City, California. Here is Angela Nicodin.
It's been an incredibly difficult season for Angela Nicodin. The loss of her coach, Yelena Cherkasskaya. Now, She is with Frank Carroll, the former coach, of course, of Michelle Quan. She tells us there's no way to replace Cherkasskaya and what she meant to her last season as she transformed herself. But she is in good hands with Frank Carroll now, the reigning U.S. bronze medalist.
She has a very calm and elegant style, very comfortable in her jumps.
Of very solid triple jumps. And that was a beauty, the way it flowed into it, the speed that it kept all the way through both jumps. That's extremely important.
Very nice
Number
position.
of revolutions needed are 8. Turns going straight in. Look at the stretch, the tightness of the leg.
Like Michelle Quan, Sasha Cohen, she is from California, from San Pedro. This crowd very much on her side.
Circular footwork.
Very nice flow, very interesting moves. You can see the influence of Elena in every move that she does, how she carries her arms.
Combination spin, superb layback, superb back position.
Very classic position with the arms and leg. Wonderful performance.
So how do you like this so far? Huh?
This is pretty good, huh?
We've had 3 brilliant performances by 3 brilliant women. It's a long time in the history of skating that you find such magnificence in such a lovely group of people. I must say, it brings tears to the eyes, doesn't it? What a way to start this national event.
Not only 3 of the best in America, 3 of the best in the world.
And here was a look at her opening combination, this triple Lutz, double toe. Very nice and solid, good running edges in between the jumps, and this solid running edge after the double toe. And here, the footwork into the triple flip. And there might have been a little deduction for that hesitation right before that jump. Here's a slow motion replay of the triple flip. Watch her tap in here, going straight up in the air. Nice legs in the air, very tight. But look at the landing, a little bit out of control, but that 3-leg does swing back, and it gives a very solid landing.
5.5.
Angela said she always wanted to work with Frank Carroll at some point. Now it's a possibility. She's there with him. Required element marks, those are solid.
There's an elegance to her skating, a flow. It's like liquid gold the way she moves across the ice.
Well, there's a 5.9 there among those.
Well, right next to it is a 5.5. So.
5.6.
And now the presentation marks 5.6 up to 5.8, the range.
You know, this is an exceedingly hard thing to judge. I mean, they're all absolutely beautiful. She had a couple of little leans and things here and there that I think could have hurt her technically. But overall, exquisite.
It's the Skating Club of Boston in Boston, Massachusetts. Please welcome Jennifer Kirk.
Right now, it's Michelle Quan, Sarah Hughes, and Angela Nicodin. But on the ice, Jenny Kirk, who finished just off the podium last season in fourth at the national championships.
Her strength has always been her consistency, and she's a very good competitor. She always keeps her calm. Opening with a triple Lutz double toe. Very solid.
Jenny won the Junior World Championship in 2000, as well as the '99 U.S. Junior Bronze Medal.
That flying camel, the jump part of it didn't fly as much as it should. Instead of just flipping over a little bit, it's almost like jumping over a barrel rather than flipping over. Or it should be.
The 17-year-old who goes to school full-time every day until about 1 o'clock or so, then begins training right in the thick of things for that third spot on the Olympic team, as is Sasha Cohen, who is still to come, remember.
Now that straight line footwork will possibly get a little deduction because it wasn't long enough, it didn't fully cover the ice, and it wasn't totally straight. Maybe that's just the way I saw it, but the judges saw it that way. There'll be a deduction.
But she's giving this program a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of energy. Very well done.
You know, the nice thing about it is that she skated well. She did it well. She's had some rather lackluster performances, and this brought her up to her feet. There's nothing like the excitement of the building already there to help you along.
The hits just keep coming, I guess. Quan, Hughes, Nicodin, and now 17-year-old Jenny Kirk.
I think there's something in the air.
Yeah.
Now, look at this footwork into the triple flip. Right there, the stretched leg, the turn, the toe pick, up into the air, tight landing, little bit of a drop on the shoulder, but that's really nitpicking. And here you can see this flying camel. She doesn't really sail into it. She doesn't fly enough. It kind of just flops over. And if the judges saw that, there'll be a slight deduction for that.
4.8, 5.3.
A nitpick from Mr. Button? Come on now.
5.3. 5.1.
Well, you know, I mean, listen, she's a lovely girl and a lovely skater, and I think that she'll just do wonderfully in the years that come. You know, she's really a marvelous talent.
Required elements, the low mark 4.8, and you hear some of the boos from this crowd here. Presentation marks are higher, though.
Well, she's an elegant skater, and she has a beautiful line, long-legged look to her that is quite wonderful. And we're going to see a lot of Evie and Mary Scottfold around, I think, for quite a while.
Used to coach Paul Wiley and Nancy Kerrigan, but Jenny Kirk into fourth place now. Michelle Quan, Sarah Hughes, Angela Nicodinov, your top three, with Jenny Kirk just outside of that in fourth, as Amber Corwin, the 23-year-old from right down the road, Hermosa Beach, California, takes the ice.
She has a very laid-back, comfortable style, very consistent jumper. She's the only skater in this short program that is even attempting a triple-triple combination, and it will be her first element. And here it comes up right here, triple toe, triple toe. Very nice.
Now watch the footwork as she leads into this triple Lutz. She's supposed to keep the footwork going and not stop and pause, but the entrance to a Lutz sometimes calls for a long edge, and that's what we've seen here. Nice back position.
Amber has been on the scene for a number of years. This is her 8th trip to the Senior National Championships. The junior at Cal State Long Beach.
Spiral combination. Notice it's in a huge serpentine kind of effect.
She could use some more stretch on these spirals, as we've seen with Sarah Hughes and Michelle Quan.
Double axle, but with rather shaky exit edge. Here's a very nice quality that lends her style of skating to this kind of music. She's developed some beautiful positions along with it. Final combination spin, first a camel, sit spin, back camel, back sit spin, catch leg position.
Made it look very comfortable.
It is, and she gives you a very calm sense watching her. It's a very relaxing program and a relaxing style of skating.
And you can't count her out. She's finished in the top 5 at nationals twice, including last year, where she placed 5th. Remember, the top 3 go to the Olympics. Amber, Corwin.
Now, she's the only skater so far to do a triple-triple combination. First a triple toe, and then a triple toe. Now, if you're asking and wondering why that didn't help her more, it's probably because some of the other elements elsewhere in the program were not quite as effective.
Now we'll see if it helps her or not. The judges' marks on the way. The first set for required elements.
But you can see there are 4-6, for heaven's sakes, a 4-7, a 4-8. 3 out of the 9 marks are in the 4s. So it didn't help her that much because the rest of it didn't quite have the sing, the speed, the energy that some of the other skaters. We've seen some magnificent performances up to this point, so you can understand why the marks are down a little bit now.
It's tough to match those performances. With the presentation marks, Amber Corwin goes into 5th place. Inside Staples Center, Terry Gannon, along with Peggy Fleming, Dick Button, and Peter Carruthers. Quan, Hughes, Nicodin, your top 3 so far for the ladies here in the short program, as Patrice McDonough steps out onto the ice, the 16-year-old from Colorado Springs.
And she has a very gentle style and really relates to the crowd so well.
She is the 2000 Junior National Champion.
Good speed, good centering. Centering means keeping the spinning turns right in one spot, not moving across the ice, not traveling, so to speak.
Now this combination, triple Lutz, double toe. Oh, very close to the boards.
It's a lovely quality to her skating, very soft edges. Back, but in a catch foot position, quite different from the other ladies.
But so appropriate for this music. think her costume really relates to this music very well, too. And her mother makes her costumes, just like my mom used to make mine.
Circular footwork, and look at her turn in both directions.
It's a very exotic position for a spiral.
Yeah, but not the prettiest of them all. It's sort of really an acrobatic trick. And somehow in my book, she's beyond that.
But it's effective here.
Final combination spin, a camel spin, wonderful speed, wonderful position on this layback. And look at the elegantly stated position here. No bent legs or pulls. Really a marvelous, marvelous overall performance.
Absolutely stunning.
We haven't seen a bad performance yet.
No.
I got to tell you, this is one of the best ladies competitions I have ever seen. The depth of ability here is just extraordinary.
Now, look at the stretch here and the outside edge. No fluts there. Good right to this point, but then the right arm doesn't check. She has a little trouble on the double turn. It's close to the boards, which doesn't help it either.
5.2, 5.3, 5.2.
And Patrice was born in Korea, came to the U.S. when she was a baby. First set of marks for required elements. There they are, 5.0 to 5.3.
5.4.
Hey, look at those presentation marks.
Well, she was a lovely quality, and they're quite consistent across the board. It's always nice to see it when all of the judges kind of agree. It makes you wonder when you see wide variations between them, but that's nice.
She moves ahead of Jenny Kirk into fourth place.